Well, good morning. Here we are at the beginning of July. It's the start of the summer show. We're a little bit later than normal with the summer show, but I think you'll agree it's been worth waiting for. Come on in. Well, I think it's better to chat inside the gallery than actually outside at this time of year, because Ballater's buzzing. There's a good vibe. It's almost like we've got rid of a longish winter, spring, and there's a lot of life and new people arriving all the time and new paintings arriving all of the time. I didn't get the chance to talk about what's in the window, but Tom will drop the paintings in right now. So we have an incredible new big Alison Cowan painting, which I think you'll love, just the colours, the usual textures. There's underneath that a gorgeous new Michael Clark painting of the booksellers in Paris. And then in the other window, you've got two brand new paintings, literally off her easel, of A Summer Garden by Marion Drummond, and then there's the Ballet Dancer. So a good variety. We've really tried to invigorate our collectors and our customers because by trying to get really lots of new paintings to talk about, no more so than this superb new painting by the one and only Christine McArthur. I'll let Tom zoom in to really let you appreciate this painting. Utterly beautiful. Ironically, we decided to have a painting called A Table in Winter in the summer show, just trying to be a bit of fun there. But also, let's just pick on a few paintings. I don't want to, somebody said to me, gosh, David, you make us a bit dizzy when you go around all the paintings for the summer show. And I've just been browsing here. The Jack Morrocco show finished at the very end of June. Huge success as usual with Jack Morrocco. And luckily he's managed to allow us to keep 3 paintings in the gallery. And if you look at the website, there's actually maybe about 8 in total. Have a look at Marion's Wellington boots here. These are actually hunter Wellington boots belonging to Marion Drummond's daughter, and they're of an animal print with a pink lining. And Marion doesn't paint Wellington boots very often, wellies, but they're just great fun. On a totally different note, Tom, if you want to just nip down to see the Jack Morrocco painting, which I've asked to be left because it's Rosa Floribunda and a silver pot. What I'd call classic Morocco. And then we don't want it all to be about Jack because he's had the full show. I want to go straight into a brand new painting from the totally different, and look at the way she paints Lucy McLaren. And this, I think it's the very first painting we've had from Lucy of a golfer. So the golfer, modern design, loads and loads of movement in this painting, and I think you'll all agree that that's a cracker. It's got a quick round. Above and below Lucy's painting are 2 fabulous new summery paintings by Alison Cowan, famous for her texture, you know, Glasgow School of Art graduate. Alison won't mind me telling you, she's just had a very significant birthday. Not 50, not 60, and we'll maybe stop there and look at this, Take a Bow. But Alison is still very modern in her style and her attitude and her ability to coordinate colours. That painting is called Take a Bow, and I would suggest Take a Bow, Alison. If you want Tom to look at this utterly classy painting, Rocks and Sea Pinks from Robert Kelsey. In my previous life, often going about my previous life, used to go to Iona and from Mull to value businesses and hotels. And this really captures the pinkness and the shades and the wonderful beaches. In fact, the painting's called Rocks and Sea Pinks. And look at the way Robert frames his paintings. No expense spared. And I think it's a stunner. I think, Tom, if we can go round here for a second and look at, you couldn't get a more different subject than this stunner by Robert of Portofino. It's 28 by 30 inches, which including the frame would be about 3 feet by 34 inches. I mean, it's almost square, in fact, and it's, you know, I use that old comment, it's an above the fireplace painting. So Portofino, and let's turn around to this one here, Tom. Sorry, Tom's given me a look of confusion. And these are yellow lilies. There's no tag on them quite yet, but they literally just arrived. And it's a soft, relaxing painting from Marion in a very different style of painting. This painting here, Tom, is white lilies, continuing the lily theme, from Francis Bogue. White lilies and two black horses. Modern, clever, fun. And let's go down to the little Andrew Thompson, Tom. Gosh, I was about to show my ignorance. No Alan Titmarsh me and say, is that another lily? But it's a clematis in a Caledon vase. We're going to talk about what's been going on over the last few months in the gallery in a few seconds, a few minutes. And there are lots of new paintings arriving daily. The gallery's small, so we have to rotate. And this, I mean, look, this is, wow, 36 by 44 inches, a birthday bouquet. Marion received a bouquet from her children for her birthday, and she couldn't resist painting. The blues, the tones, I'm not just saying it. Just before we started filming this, it was only hung yesterday, and a couple just about tripped over trying to get in to see it and admiring its beauty. It is superb, a birthday bouquet from Marion Drummond. And a totally different note, but kind of continuing the colours. John hangs things for me, and he does it so cleverly. Here we have August Light at Gallenach by David Schofield. And just the cleverness to get all these different colours, not so much textures, with varnish, and a highly unusual but very beautiful needlework painting by, well, it's not a painting, obviously, artwork by Christine McArthur, which has just arrived, of all different boxes of matches. Tom, would you mind going into this Michael Clark? We have about 6 new paintings from Michael Clark, and I think in our last video we happened to mention that Michael has had an incredible run of success this year with us, and this new painting is called Chefs at Work at Brett in Glasgow. Having been at Brett, I think what he's doing is he's just really managed to capture the vibe of chefs and waiters at work. So what's up here? Here is a painting called Study for In Vincent's Shadow. Now this is by Denise Finlay, and I just wanted to highlight the summery heat, the hat, the sun, and of course the nod to Van Gogh or Van Gogh, however you want to pronounce it. I'm not going to go on and on here. I wanted Tom just to quietly take you on a quick trip round without me and have a look at the little Christine McArthur there. And then, as I think I've said, the artists are, a lot of them are painting for us. David Smith, New Blue Crab. And this, I'll move this for you, Tom, this pod, Fish and Dried Flowers. Really unusual for David, that one, because there's so much variety of colour, and going right up to the top, the Cuckoo Wrasse. I would love you to concentrate on this painting, because I shouldn't have favourites, but it's by none other than Glen Scouller, RSW RGI, and if you have a look at the website, we have a couple of other new big paintings from Glen, but this is, it just off to market, and isn't it just so evocative of the time of year and the incredible temperatures we're seeing in the Mediterranean at the moment. Tom, if you want to go up to the new Alistair Little painting, The Esplanade, brackets, in November. So Alistair Little is probably one of our greatest storytellers, and I think this painting was probably in the 50s. And what are the guys doing? What are they talking about? Are they then going to join the ladies at perhaps the wedding or the christening? And of course, it's the Esplanade beside Edinburgh Castle. Beautifully painted. Tom, if you'd like to go to the Georgina McMaster here. summer scent. We've been fighting and fighting and fighting to get a new Georgina McMaster, and I think we've got the bullseye with this. I think it's a poppy and the bumblebee. Simple, but my goodness, not many people could paint the way Georgina does. Quick look down to the gorgeous little Linda Park there. There are a few new Linda Parks on the website, and full of texture, Wild Winter Seas at Los Scavig, and down below, another new Lynn Patullo of Lamlash at Arran. I think Lynn's painted 8 new paintings for us. And Tom, just look at the 2 sunflower paintings from Jennifer Mackenzie. You really can't help but see the texture, the vibrancy of the colours, the nod to the Scottish colourists, and I don't know, that might even be an acknowledgement on the greeting card of Joan Erdley. Also, quite a few new paintings have come in from Jackie Henderson, and they're just simple and peaceful. And this is called, quite simply, Living Alone. Beautiful colours. Have a look at have a look at Jackie's new paintings on the website. You'll see some lovely ones of dogs as well. So I think what we'll do is we'll finish off, maybe Tom, at the Christine McArthur painting. So, as I mentioned earlier, this great big painting, 40 by 40, excluding the frame, which is roughly speaking about 4 feet by 4 feet. I love the simpleness, but the cleverness. Mixed media, if you're looking carefully at it, you will see lots of pieces of paper, lots of different textures, almost in a collage style. And Christine won't mind me telling you that she will often paint using Faro and ball colours. Christine's, as we all know, right at the top of her game, and whether it's a small painting like this or a great big painting for the summer show, she's got collectors all around the world. Now, I know, funnily enough, that not everybody gets Christine's work, but it's the peacefulness. And I saw recently one of her paintings go into a house just near Wimbledon, actually, and it was a very expensive, very modern kitchen, and it wasn't this painting, but it was a one similar to that, and the effect, just glorious to bring something out of the simpleness of the poke and pole kitchen that it was. So I'll finish talking there, and then what we'll do is just the finishing off from the mailing, what would you call it, the newsletter. We'll just have a chat about what's happening. So that's you had a nice little tour of the summer show, but please remember this is only a small section. We're a relatively small space here in Ballater. We do have the viewing room in Aberdeen. We have a store in Ballater, and there are a lot more paintings that arrived for the summer show from many artists. We've tried to have almost everyone included here, but not them all by no means. But I think John, who tends to look after the viewing room for me, has done the most amazing job in hanging with a peacefulness. Anyway, because Tom gives me stats and things like that about what you want, we now have thousands of people in the mailing list, which is great. And we like to hear what you would like us to show. And Tom's had quite a lot of emails over the last few weeks to say, we haven't had one of these updates from what's been happening and what hasn't been happening. So I think the last one of these was in January. I've said it before, it's been a fairly tough 6 months. In fact, not fairly, pretty tough. And yes, we do get the odd big sale going through, but you know, quite a lot of artists have sold very, very few things, but then you get others who've just had a run that they couldn't believe, funnily enough, like Michael Clark, who we mentioned in the video. So to give you a little bit of what's been happening over the last month, to start with in Aberdeen, and then for the last 2 weeks in Ballater was the Jack Morrocco show. I'm not a fan of solo shows, everybody knows that, but the solo show for him was a huge success, and I think 25 paintings sold. And we're lucky enough to have been allowed another 3 or 4 in the gallery, and a few more to come. So, Before that, because we've not given you the update since January about really what's been happening, I do have quite an important announcement to make. But I'm going to tell you about that after I tell you about a little bit about individual artists. So, we've mentioned Marion Drummond, her huge new paintings. We've sold a couple of Marions which arrived last week, in fact, and haven't even made Ballater. One of these was called 10 to 3 and Time for Tea. And also a couple of months ago, she sold a big painting called Cliff Connections. Ian Faulkner, it's funny because, we sold a big painting to start with called Wake 2 at Loch Eck, and then only a couple of weeks ago, Barcelona 2, a small painting. David Meredith, our sculptor of bronzes, they're always selling the small line here sold, and they're limited editions, so you often have between 8 for huge ones right up to 75 maybe. I mentioned about Michael Clark, and we've sold so many, but really examine the new paintings from Mike. We've got the Paris bookseller in the window, which is utter class. We've got Memories of Regano. I would probably like the Memories of Regano. It's not quite arrived yet. And we've got the one of Restaurant Brett. Gail Pope, we sold Gail's painting Joy of Spring back a couple of months ago, and there were quite a lot of people who were after that. But have a look at the website. Tom will drop Gail's new paintings in right now to let you see some utter stunners. I want to go also on a little bit about Alison Cowan's new paintings. We've sold various for Alison over the last few months, like Flurry. I could yabble on and on about Alison's sales, but have a look at the new ones, again, like the one in the window. Just jumping a little bit, Tom was saying to me, Alistair Little. Often with Alistair Little, because we're his only gallery apart from Pantern Hall in London, and Alistair's paintings, as you'll have seen, with the fabulous new one of Edinburgh, which we've talked about, and there's another beautiful new painting with a view of London. I don't think they'll hang around. We sold Corgarth within 2 days of announcing it on the website. Francis Bogue, we sold Corgarth Castle, we sold Stonehavey Uri. Well, have a look at the remaining Francis Bogues. So, Lucy McLaren, I've already talked about the new painting with the golfer. There's a lot of interest in her paintings at the moment. And David Smith, as ever, David, we sold 2 great big paintings for David. The Clydesiders, it's about 8,000. Fish and Creels of South Uist, about 6,500. But again, David's come up trumps and got some smaller paintings for us with the fish. He's currently painting some huge new crackers. Lynn Patullo, have a look at Lynn's new work. I think we have 8 or 9 paintings, not so much of children, but of Ely, of Barra, of Plockton. So, what's the new thing that we're going to be doing? So, the Ballater Gallery has now been running for 6 years, and we kept on the website under artists all the red dots for the majority of the paintings an artist will have sold. Some people love that, but 1 or 2 people get confused, and there will be certain artists who have sold over 100 paintings with us, and then there will be newer artists who have maybe only sold a handful, or some who take much longer to paint, like perhaps Faulkner, like perhaps Little, Dale Bisland. They maybe all take longer to paint than other artists. So we have decided to now only keep a small selection of red dots. Somebody emailed Tom and said, why do you keep them when they're sold? It's not of much use. Well, the reason is everybody seems to want to learn about the artist. They want to see examples of their work, which can be so totally different from their last painting. I'm trying to think of an artist who that could be. Well, I mean, have a look at the new Kirsty Withers, which have just arrived, and Tom will drop them in now. But Kirsty Wither has incredible ability with colour and sells a lot, and with myself, with Open Eye, with Portland, and her style can really vary. So we will be keeping red dots as examples of what the artist sold, but very often, Joe Hargan, Jack Morrocco, lots of these artists have sold tens and tens and tens of paintings, maybe not hundreds and hundreds, but tens and tens. And so that's going to be with effect from, I would think, Tom, the end of July, and Tom's just nodding to me, that the website will be updated, so you'll only see a small selection, but if you really are interested in a particular painting or a particular style, always email us at info@ballatergallery.co.uk. Is there anything else of particular note that's happening? We're not going to any art fairs. I'm not planning any pop-ups. We're continuing, hopefully, to offer a really high, continuing our modus operandi of customer service. We tend to be in Edinburgh and Glasgow every week. We tend to be couriering in London every month, and certainly I'm usually there about every 6 weeks. So we can help you find the right paintings. We're doing quite a lot now. If you want to imagine a painting that's on the website on your own living room wall, email us photographs of your living room wall and the paintings, and we'll specially adapt that to suit your own demands, if you like. So that's something. I also want to emphasize that when we quote a painting size, it is because, we quote the canvas size, not including the frame. One or two galleries we've noticed have been starting to quote including frames. I don't do that because the vast majority of our frames are different sizes. So they're not our frames, it's the artists that frame them, are different sizes. So that's to answer that question. I was just looking here at another question. Somebody emailed Tom and said, are you planning to change your opening hours? Well, we are closed at the moment on a Tuesday only, and we're open from 11 till 4. Not planning to change that during the summer months, may change in the winter months, again, where we might only be open 4 days of the week, but we'll talk about all of that later. Anything else, I suppose, really relevant? I suppose, when we sell some big paintings, like there was a cracking big painting we sold for Joe Hargan, which was called Dora's Dream. Absolutely magnificent. 52 by 52 inches, 25,000. It had been in an important exhibition for the Paisley Institute at the Glasgow Art Club. And we received it on the Monday and sold it on the Tuesday. And it just shows the demand still for Joe Hargan's work. And if you have a look at the website, you'll see 3 of his latest paintings called A Question of Art, Overview, and Little Fish. But Dora's Dream was, almost a museum piece. And I said, well worth its £25,000 price tag. Colin Fraser, we sold his painting Carousel, 15,950. And Colin is currently putting together about half a dozen new paintings to get up here for the summer show, but probably arriving in August. So when we go to that end, but don't forget, we've got very affordable paintings. We sell we only have one local artist, Janice McElwain. They're £350, £500. A lot of them are selling. The Lynn Patillos are between £700 and £900. Plenty of affordable things for gifts. And do you know something else? Tom was saying to me, I had about 4 inquiries last month alone from people wanting to give gift vouchers. And that seems to be a growing part of our business. So I'm going to finish off there. It's somebody, look what Fiona in the gallery has done very artfully and very skillfully, sweet peas from her garden. It's that time of year, there's a bit of joy, there's a bit of buzz, and yes, I know you can't all come to Ballater or even to our viewing room in Aberdeen, so please, anything at all, drop me a note at info@ballatergallery.co.uk. I'm sending at least 3 WhatsApp videos a day. We'll happily get something to you. Anyway, enjoy the summer show.